would be very apt for this audience is how to increase the odds of your success. Right? So consider a scenario like this. You are sitting in a hostel room, surrounded by friends. As usual, a very animated discussion is taking place. Somebody is presenting their idea of a startup. And there are folks in the room on either side of the fence. Some are, of course, in favor of the idea. Some are critiquing the idea. Some are talking about how it is very infeasible, impractical. Some are giving examples of startups which have failed recently along the same lines. A lot of very interesting conversation is happening. And it goes on till late in the night. And the very next day, similar discussion, similar people, different room. Right? Kind of sounds familiar. My entire point here is that most of this remains at a discussion stage. On one hand, we have super talented people like you, very capable people, having lots of ideas, energies, and ability to bring it to life. But on the other hand, I am willing to bet that even in a good year, the number of startups coming out of this campus probably will be in low single digits. It begs the question, why such low numbers despite of all the capabilities? And there are various reasons for that, of course. One of the themes that I have picked up on is the fact that the success rates of startups are super low, right? The numbers speak for themselves. 10% of the startups survive beyond 5 years. Not at all motivating, right? If funding of a startup was any indicator of its future success, there also you have less than 1% of the startup getting funded by angels. Angels listen to about 20 to 25 startup pitches in any given month, and they end up funding 2 to 3 in a year, right? And even if by some stroke of luck you manage to secure that angel funding, your ability to raise the follow-on round is just about 40%. Right? So this is the kind of, a clear demotivator for people to jump in. While it's very interesting to have engaging discussion and all of that, but jumping headlong while through such prestigious campus you may have other options, easier options. Why do that, right? So that is one hypothesis I want to build upon. I call these my battle scars. The one thing that is common between all of them, aside from the fact that you may not have heard any of these names, is that these are all my failed attempts at starting up. Until this happened. Right? So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I want to touch upon some of the key learnings that I have gathered over all of these experiences, as well as the experience of people around me, startups around me, and try to understand how do these successful startups do things differently, and is there a pattern over there? See, none of whatever I am going to tell is going to be extremely unique, and by far this is probably not the only way or the best way of doing things. But truly to the theme of tonight's event, let us not seek the perfect answer, let's embrace the gray areas. And with that brings me to my first word. Market fit is better than marketing. So like I was saying, you have to survive another day to be able to market your products. Throwing money at a problem temporarily brushes it under the carpet. It resurfaces up. So, unless until you are clear that there is a customer out there who's willing to buy your product or service and pay a price for that. Until that is conclusively proven, there is no sense in marketing, there is no sense in scaling, right? So you may ask, it's fairly obvious, right? Why would I scale up when I haven't proven it at a unit level, right? So it's a fair question, but I think in reality it's very difficult to execute. It's because you will have pressure from various interest groups, including your investors, to show quick results, right? Somebody who is invested, they have different agenda. Sometimes they want to exit during the next valuation round. Sometimes they want their in here for long term, but a lot of opportunism there, a lot of interest at collision course. So you don't want to trust that. But there are so many temptations, right? The press adulation, the hockey stick growth, the lofty valuation, all of these things are temptations. And on the other side, let us say you want to prove your hypothesis at a unit stage, but then there is a paying customer which doesn't really contribute to your hypothesis, but still it's money. So these are difficult questions, difficult calls to take. But the entire point here is that you have to remain very disciplined and focused about this. There will be sacrifices in your mind, but then those sacrifices are worthwhile. And unless you have proven it at a unit level, there is absolutely no sense in going forward with this, right? This serves you in the long run. So that's the first thing. Done is better than perfect. There are various ways people adopt to startups. Right? Some start up with just market research, and then there are those who start with marketing, selling first. Once they have reasonable assurance of a paying customer, they come back to the design board, they develop the product. And there are many other approaches in between these two extremes. So nothing is right or wrong here. The entire point here is that when you are doing a startup, there will be a laundry list of things for you to complete. And if you get into the pitfalls of perfection, it becomes all the more harder. Take an example. Let's say one of the first things that you do when you are thinking of an idea or starting up, right? You prepare a pitch deck, pitch presentation. What does that mean? Basically, you want to articulate your idea for yourself first and then for the world, right? So when you think of pitch deck, if you're doing it for the first time, you think about what structure to follow, what is that key attribute I want to pitch here. It should have product should have a logo. With logo, now so far we are talking in the business realm, right? Now with the logo, you're thinking logo depends on the name of the product. Now the name, it sounds straightforward, but then you also have to check whether the domain name for a similar name is available or not, right? So now we are slowly inching towards engineering, right? Domain name, now you are thinking about, okay, what hosting plans should I take? What kind of computational and storage resources do I need? That depends on how many concurrent users you want to support. That now slowly inching into the field of marketing. If you want to support X concurrent users, then you probably need to recruit, let us say, 1,000 users, right, through marketing. Now, with that, you get into the domain of finance, where you have to have money to be able to onboard these 1,000 customers over time. So my point is that within a single day, you are juggling right from your business strategy to product strategy to engineering to finance to marketing, and things will come at an overwhelming pace to you. So have a mindset of a closure. Many a times we start judging ourselves with the quality of each and every deliverable that we create. We have a very high standards of ourselves, right? So we start judging ourselves that I am better than this. But the problem is, if you start delivering everything perfect, you will just not have enough time to deliver everything. And in a startup, you are your own boss. Nobody is asking you questions. And that puts a lot of responsibility on your own shoulders, right? So, Don't judge yourself. It is a ruthless prioritization, it is a conscious call that you have taken to deliver something only at a certain level of perfection. It has to be good, it has to work, and that's about it. Okay? That ensures your survival for the next day. Nobody is asking you a question. You don't do it, it doesn't get done. As simple as that. And it remains there. Now, this guy called Bill Gross, he did a TED talk in 2015 about the various factors that contribute to the success of a startup. He's a Silicon Valley based investor. He surveyed hundreds of startups. Okay? These were the findings. By far, the most important contributing factor is the timing. If you are not able to meet the timing, everything is useless. So, don't get into the pitfall or the temptation of being perfect. You know yourself better than anybody else. This is a temporary situation. Things will improve. Perfection can follow. Right now, you have to ensure survival. So, with that, it's a good point to come to the next learning. One is better than many. Why do I say that? I don't know what makes a startup successful for sure, but having dependencies on too many people, especially in the early days of your startup, is a sure shot recipe for failure. So, you guys are in the campus. It's fairly easy for a bunch of batchmates, friends, colleagues even, to come together with a common vision of starting up something. But what is not so common is producing something at the end of that effort. Right? It remains at a discussion stage, maybe you go further somewhat, but ultimately, in a lot of instances, things don't work out. Right? What is the root cause of that? I think the root cause, at least it's been my experience, is the set of expectations that you put on others. Right? You may say it's fair to expect from others, they are my co-founders, but the challenge is when the co-founder is, let's say, not delivering, it's going off script. What happens then? Expectations create negativity and it's a downward spiral after that. So what do? Do you start doing everything on your own? Well, if you start doing everything on your own, you become the bottleneck. Things will move slowly, but then they will move after all. But of course, you don't have to do everything on your own. That's not what I am recommending here. I think we are far more resourceful and entrepreneurial than we give ourselves credit for, right? When we are put in a corner, backs to the wall, we wriggle out of that situation by some creative thinking, right? For example, you may say it could be also issue of the skill set. Let us say your responsibilities are on the engineering side. You are the techie. You are the data science guy. And the marketing guy is not delivering. Now what do? See, these days, so many avenues available. Example, Canva is a beautiful website which gets you a reasonably good marketing collateral up and running in 15 minutes. Why do you need to be perfect here? It gets you started, it gets you unstuck. That's the point, right? What is the other alternative? The other alternative is to keep micromanaging, keep chasing endlessly with folks who are not delivering. That is not working. Try this out. Right? It is definitely possible. People have done it. It works. There are chances that when you lead by example, people will come around and then start keeping their end of the bargain. Right? So the answer lies in leading with example and not endlessly following up. That's not getting you anywhere. The last point. Hustle is better than comfort. What do I mean by that? See, we are all the prisoners of our own comfort zones. Right? We like familiarity. Everybody likes familiarity. Nothing wrong with that. Except when it comes to startup, if you remain in your comfort zone for far too long, it will be detrimental to your success or even survival. See, I have been in technology industry for forever, ever since I started my career. So things like product management, product development, engineering, data analytics, all of this is something that I do on a day-to-day basis. When it came to my last startup, I took refuge in that. Even though I had a gut feel that the product is reasonably ready, I just kept tinkering with it. Because selling is not my cup of tea, or so I thought. Right? I used to get nightmares, thinking that, hey, if I show this product to the potential customers, they will laugh at me. They will ridicule me. They'll think that what stupid product that you have brought in doesn't even look good. But in my mind, this was also kind of a constant struggle that none of this tinkering is going to get us money. The oil which is required to keep the engine running. So you have to get out there. There are, trust me, enough number of customers who don't want a perfect product. So go out there, get out of your comfort zone. But how do you do that? You do it by brute force. There is no easy way to do this. By your sheer willpower, you have to drag yourself out. You have to hammer your way out. That's the only thing. There is no easy solution to this. Right. So I wish you all the best. With a positive mind, good intentions, try things out. Don't keep it within you. And I wish you all the best. Thank you very much. You've been a great